Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be the final part, at least that is what I hope, of our color along series in Mythographic Magical Earth. We've been coloring in with Derwent Inktense pencils only, the giraffe page here. So today's video is going to be adding a bit more depth to the trees and then using our white Inktense pencil to just add a few highlights and finishing touches, and then I think we are done with this page. So hopefully within the next 2 hours this page should be done. We can also look at what we would like to color in or talk about our next live stream series and what we'd like to color in there. So give it some thought and let me know in the comments any preferences or things that you would like to do as a color along series. So I've got my Inktense pencils out. I'm using felt green 1530. I'm using Beech Green 1510. Oh, there you go. And then I thought I might dip into the Ionian Green 1320 for deeper shadows, so very much in my deepest shadows. So we'll have a look how that will work as we progress. So I'm going to just open everything up on my channel so I can see you, chat to you. I am running a bit late today, so my apologies. Okay, there we go. So I am now officially all set up. Okay, so the felt green is my base layer. So I am going to just rub my pencil on my palette. I've got some fresh water with me. I also want my beech green. Oops. I have my electric sharpener nearby. And then I want a little bit of that Ionian green. Now the pencil size I'm using is a number 1 and a number 3, which I have here. They're the Transon brand. Now I accidentally left my number 1 paintbrush standing in a jar of water for quite a long time, so it has actually bent the bristles at the tip there, which is a bit unfortunate. Okay, I'm going to concentrate a bit more on these bottom trees and then I'll move up. So I'm going to zoom you in for a closer look. Okay, so for this I'm going to use my number 3 brush. I have some toilet paper with me, so I can just dab any excess off. Alright, so I'm just going to come along here and just work on this. So this is the beech green. So I hope you are well and that your weekend was a good weekend. We had quite a relaxing weekend and also in some ways a rather busy and productive weekend. Our one son had his end of the season awards for rugby. The other 2 had their awards last week, or the week before I should say. So I was running around with them and playing touch rugby and all sorts of other games. And they encourage the parents to play with the kids, which is great. But the Saturday we actually did some gardening, which was so needed. Hubby actually arranged a lovely weeding tool for me Nothing fancy, but just something to help me grip around the weeds a bit better and actually yank them out by the root, which is what was so needed. So we did a whole lot of trimming in the garden and pulling out weeds. I mean, I've still got weeds I need to pull out, don't get me wrong. It's like a never-ending job. But at least we tidied up our garden quite a bit. And we're not cutting our lawn at the moment because of it being May and just wanting to promote nature for the bees. So we quite like doing that. So yeah, at some point I need to get into the front garden because I've got one flower bed against the house and it's just so overgrown. So I need to trim that back, which will eventually happen. I'll tell you. And then we'll, at the end of May, we've got a holiday coming up, so probably when we get back from that we'll cut the grass. At least we had good weather, and then we had a barbecue or a braai. We're South African, we call them braais. But if you are in the States or the UK or somewhere else, you would call it a barbecue. I think in Australia they call it a barbie. I stand to correction, but as far as I know, that's the colloquial term. And we celebrated Mother's Day, not on the UK date this year, but on the American and South African day, because my birthday's in March, so it just feels a bit too close to have Mother's Day on, you know, just after my birthday. So if you have too much water on your brush, just dab it on a paper towel. Hi Brittany, welcome to the channel. It's great to have you. How was your day? Alright, so I'm going to let that tree dry now, and while it's drying I'm going to move on to the next tree. So here, this is just going to get a bit more shadow. So hopefully there won't be too much to do to this page, with it being pretty much done. And I think even the highlights we'll do with a white pencil is going to be just here and there. I suppose technically, you know, you could even say this page is already done. But, you know, when in doubt, just add a few more layers. Or when you think it's done, just add a few more layers. It all just works together to bring a lovely, rich tonal value to your page. Oh, I hope you had a good sleep, Brittany. And I'm glad you had something to eat before you had your medicine. It's always good. Hi Leslie, how are you? Thanks for joining. Did you have a good weekend? Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you had a relaxing weekend. I was just mentioning how we spent most of Saturday cleaning out the garden, and then Sunday was sports awards for one of the boys. This rugby season has now ended, so in some ways it's like, yay, we can have Sundays back. But it's good for them. I think sports are good to play. But other than that, I think all's well. We're all doing okay. I'm doing good. Got a really busy week next week because we're wrapping up our school year. So there's all sorts of events happening. But I'm really looking forward to having a nice long summer and just do some different learning. Hopefully get quite a bit of coloring done, which would be really nice if I could just like get a whole lot more color alongs filmed and then release them gradually, or at least have them filmed and then I have to edit them. Oh, I tell you, that's where I like the lives, because I don't have to go back really and edit. I can just chat and talk to you guys, and then when it's finished, I just edit a few things on the description, but I don't have to go in and edit the entire video, which really helps. Yeah, right. Editing is a long process. Oh gosh. Sometimes I think it takes as long to edit as it does to film. Right, so now I'm going over this with the felt green, and I'm just using it to blend. I don't want to have these trees too much definition, because I don't want them to take attention away from the girl and the giraffes. I really want them to be the center of I want them to grab your attention, not the trees. But I do want the trees to be nicely blended as well. So I've been working on a color along series in one of Aries' books, and the focus is food, so pastries. I thought it would be fun to show my attempts at pastries on camera, and that way, you know, hopefully be encouraging to those of you who don't know how to color pastries, and sort of show you how I would approach it and all of that. No worries, Leslie. I totally get where you're coming from. I close my door unless the kids, it's during the day, which is not often, where I will film with the kids awake. If I do, I put TV on, like go watch TV. but then, you know, it's, for me, it's like editing out any background noise. I find that quite challenging. So then, do you prefer live streams? Does that work better for you then? All right, I think I might come in with a little bit of, so I'm going to change my paintbrush to number 1, and I'm going to pick up some of that Ionian Green. So I'm going to try put it in its very deeper shadows and see how that will work. Haha, right, yeah. Yeah, dog scratching at the door would probably be quite frustrating. So this is that Ionian Green. Oh, that's a really good question. I think you can. I think it just depends on the software. So here I'm just using water to just blend out that Ionian Green. I think it does depend on the software you have. Maybe with OBS you can. I vaguely remember looking on OBS and seeing that somewhat it did have an option to do a live stream, but have it that you could publish it later. There must be a way, because some of these other, you know, bigger YouTube channels, I think they pre-record their live streams. So if they can pre-record their live streams, I'm pretty sure you could do your live stream and then publish it later. So I'm just picking up a very little bit of the Ionian Green. And kind of in circular motions, trying to just dab it into where I think are the deeper shadows in the tree. Yeah, I think you're right. It is more or less a recording. I think quite a few YouTubers, they do their live streams via the OBS software, and then I think you can get other software which links and connects to OBS, so you can use your phone. But I haven't come right yet with a good webcam, you know, software for my phone. So I've just decided I'll stick with what I've got, because at least it works. At some point I'll probably have to play with it and get rid of, you know, the watermarks and that sort of thing. Yeah, Editing is just part of it, isn't it? I was so disappointed. I recorded everything. Well, I thought I'd recorded everything for the Rockhopper penguin page I did in Fragile World. And I had it all ready to edit, was editing, and I thought I had everything. And lo and behold, I've gone and missed the whole final part. So I've had to type up in the description for the last part I have edited and available, how to finish up the page, because I can't find the footage anywhere. It's not on my laptop, it's not on my phone, so I have no idea if I even recorded it, because sometimes I think I'm recording something and then it turns out I haven't, or if I've completely gone and lost the footage. So yay, bit of a bummer there. But what can you do? Just keep going, I suppose. So rinse your brush between each color you put on. It will help keep your colors quite defined. So this is the felt green. So I'm just alternating between all my greens and just building up layers as I can. Hi Penny, how are you? It's great to have you join. Hope you had a good weekend. Okay, I think I'm going to leave that. I'm going to come back to this branch, this tree here, and just pick up some of that Ionian Green. Don't need an awful lot of it, it's quite dark. Then the Beech Green. So you've got to work relatively quickly with Inktense, otherwise it's going to dry and you could dry with hard lines. And sometimes if you dab it instead of like draw lines with it, it helps to blend it as well. Oh, I'm glad you had a nice and quiet weekend. Those are always nice. All right, some more of that Ionian Green. and then some more beech green. So I saw on Coloring with Elena's YouTube channel, she's released a video reviewing a coloring book done by AI generation. So it's, yeah, it was generated by AI. And it seems to have not impressed her at all. So I'm quite keen to actually go have a look at her review and see what the images are like and what she has to say, because I've come across some of this AI generated coloring book images, and I think I have yet to see somebody actually use the AI in a cohesive way, in a way that actually works for coloring, you know, as far as the composition goes and that sort of thing. Oh, did you? Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's a pity. But I just think I'd rather spend money on people's work and have beautiful drawings to color in than just buy any cheap coloring book. Because even if it's not necessarily, well, I don't know if it's AI generated, but some books, they just look like children's books. Which is fine if that's the style people enjoy, but I really like the more, I don't know, detailed kind of content. Yeah, it's a pity we avoid both. I mean, I've been chatting to hubby about these AI things, and just like saying how I think it can be a useful tool, but it needs to be used well. Like, I don't think anyone probably minds how coloring illustrations are made, so long as it's enjoyable and it's good content, and yeah, and it's not, not taking credit for someone else's work. Because that's the other thing that really upsets me, is when you go onto Amazon and there's these people or publishers and they're just reselling other artists' work. I'm like, that's not okay. We can't do that. So this is the beech green here that I'm using. And then I'm going to use some more of the felt green. Yeah, it is very sad. And yes, I agree with you, it is complete thieving. So back to my beech green. Alright, I'm going to try and blend these together. So this is the Ionian Green. If I bring some of that in here. I also saw the coloring community project with the illustrations for Kirby Rosanna's is almost finished now. And that's going to be really special, I think, being able to show him a compilation of his beautiful work colored in. So it'd be nice to see the video. I don't know if they're going to publish the video for the rest of us to see the complete alien worlds colored in, because that would be really, really lovely. Hi Dawn, how are you? I hope you are well. Glad you're okay. I'm really looking forward to this page being complete, because this month my coloring has been even, well, it feels like it's been even more scattered than last month. So I've got, I think, probably 4 whips on the go. And I'm just struggling to get my head to actually just settle and finish something. So I did a mermaid page in Gnomes in the Neighborhood for Mermaid, which is great. But then I've got, yeah, I've probably got about 4 whips that I started this month and I need to aim to finish. I'm like, I'm going to run out of time. But I can't help it. I don't actually know how to get myself to not be so in and out of things. Because like I wanted to, I actually want to color buildings. So now I've decided, oh, well, I want to color the buildings in Aries Romantic Country, the first tale. So I've planned out the color scheme and all of that. But I'm also coloring the pastry page in that book, so I can't go and start the building page. And yeah, I'm like, seriously, some months I start like that, and then other months it just gets a bit better. So I don't know, do any of you have any ideas on how I can stay a bit more focused? Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like it. It really has been a labor of love, but I've enjoyed coloring this page, and using the Inktense with the paintbrush has been really educational and helpful. I think I feel like I've learned a lot about painting and Inktense through this page. So I'm really, really grateful that you all decided Inktense was the way to go, and yeah, I'm super proud of it. Somehow that got missed. So I'm still alternating between beech green and felt green, and then deepening up some of these shadowed areas with the Ionian Green. Oh, sorry guys, I am zoning out on you. I don't mean to. So I think we're going to come right with this. Looks like it's going to be complete in this video, which is great, because then we can move on to something different. Are there any coloring books that you would like to color in during a live stream, or any preferred pencils or media that you'd like to experiment with? I will also put it as a poll on the channel. I'll do a community post. Alright, so then some felt green just to try and blend this out. So with trees, what you're looking at doing is alternating your shades of green. We want to have the light green to reflect some of the sunlight, and then we want to have a medium green, and then the darkest green is going to be where most of our shadows will be, which is why I'm trying to do these 3 shades of green. So I'm trying to imagine where which parts of these leaves are going to be harder to get to, and that's going to show the least amount of light, so it's going to be more in shadow. And then like these bits here on top, that's going to get a lot more light, so I want to use my beech green. You could even do a beech green with a bit of yellow, just to even brighten that up even more. I think with trees, especially trees as big as these, you don't have to worry about each individual leaf. It's sort of like hair. You don't worry about the same, each individual strand of hair. What we focus on is just a few, so that we trick the mind into thinking there are individual leaves or individual tree. Yeah, not individual trees. Oh my goodness. And then what I've also tried to do is in my Creative Companion, I have a section for my swatches, and I just put in the title of the book with I'll name the page. So like this one is giraffes, and I will then try and put the color combos so that going forward I can refer to my color combos and actually try and repeat some of the colors, and hopefully by doing that I'll also speed up my coloring. At least that's the intention. So this is just the felt green. I'll pick up a bit more beech green and try and just blend this out a bit better. So now I'm going to bring in my Ionian Green. And then pick up my Beech Green. So this is Beech Green, and I'm just moving it around, trying to build up these layers. But we're almost done now. And then here we bring in the Ionian Green. And then this is the felt green. And come into the beech green. So yeah, it's just the same process. The water that I clean my brush in is slowly turning a very faint green. I mean, where you can see it's going to be quite a deep shadow, you don't really need to blend it. If it's like these little bits here which are quite obvious, and then Beech Green. So here you could probably swap to a bigger brush and just cover a bit more area, because I'm just sort of basing or doing a wash just to try and blend these out. I think even if you aren't using a paintbrush, it's probably better practice to rinse it off, place it next to you, than to leave it standing in the jar. Otherwise you have what I ended up with, these slightly bent tips. Hi B, how are you? It's great to have you. Thanks for coming. And thank you. Yes, it's come a long way. I'm really pleased with this picture. I'm going to just probably have to kind of, like, you know, the expression, pinch myself, because it's done with a paintbrush and Inktense. It's just incredible. So I definitely recommend this challenge for anyone who feels up to it, because yeah, I really believe that you can do it and it will look phenomenal. I am not going to give anyone the option just yet to challenge me to do this sort of technique with acrylic paint or gouache, because I've tried with acrylic and my skills are just not there yet. So I'm going to spare myself and just give myself maybe another 6 months to a year of playing around with Inktense and a paintbrush, and then I'll have to probably watch acrylic videos. I think the technique is probably similar, but I feel like if I watch videos on how to paint with acrylic, I'll get there. You know, baby steps. Just do baby steps. I suppose you could do something similar with distress inks. So for those of you who like distress inks, you could do something like this with the distress ink. Possibly even your water-based markers. I've heard that with water-based markers you can put the marker onto a palette board with some water, and then you can use it as watercolor paint. So that's an option for you if you like, if you're interested. Okay, so now I'm going to get my felt green and just paint over this. Right, so we have got just this little bit left, and then we've got highlights. So beech green again in here over any of the Ionian green. Sometimes I still pick it up and just dab in a bit more. So I think dab is a good word. You want to dab in the ink more than you want to paint it. It's more of a dab. And then bring in the beech green. And you want to try dab that in as well. So I have gone over the lines with some of my background, and so I've painted into some of it accidentally, but I think it will be okay. If you look at it from far, you won't notice. So then go over it with beech green. I am so close to finishing. Not long now. Okay, so beech green in here. And then your felt green. Right. I'm going to get my white Inktense now. Okay, as you can see, I've got quite a sharp point. I'm going to dip it in the water, and I'm just going to see if I can lighten up here a little bit. I just put in a few highlights on the giraffes. So I'm going to be really honest, this is the first time I'm using a Derwent white pencil. I generally don't actually use them, mainly because I didn't know how to. So here I'm just testing this out. Kind of using it in a similar way I would a Sakura jelly roll. So if it doesn't have a lot of water on, it's quite okay. If you have too much water on, it kind of pools. So dip it in and then I dab it. And let's see if I come here, if I can fix this up a bit. So I'm trying to see if I can, so that's too much water. Pencil in some more of these strands. I'm just taking water on my brush and just trying to see if I can again, I'm just trying to lighten up some areas just to help create a bit more contrast. Dip it in the water, too much water, dab it off. I'm going to lift it up a bit. I'm just going to sharpen it again to a bit more of a point. Dip it in the water and see if I can As always, with everything we try that's new, it takes practice. So I'm not expecting this to be brilliant, because this is the first time I'm using a white Derwent Inktense pencil for highlighting. So with more practice, it will get better. But I like the concept. Oh, let's lift you up. So I need a really sharp point to try and do accents on the hair, this ridge of hair he's got going on for him. Okay, so then just a little bit here and there. could probably do something like this with a paintbrush. I just prefer, for something so fine, the control of a pencil. And if you would prefer a white gel pen, you could. Okay, so now let's have a look. I might just blend out her skin a bit more. And then maybe some on here. And then I want some ink black, and I'm just going to do the doorknob. And then with a very sharp pencil, I'm going to attempt the eyelids, this main giraffe here. Maybe just going over the eye. I'm not really 100% sure how to deal with the giraffe's eyelashes, so maybe we use a lighter color. So maybe a tan. Need a very strong point. Yeah, we'll have to work on that. So back to my white pencil. I'm just trying to using a pencil, deepen up the banister here. This is where finishing touches with pencils really helps. Right, I think that this may be done. I'm going to zoom it out and then have a look. So there you go. That is what it looks like. And I think it is done. I don't think it really needs much more to it. I think if I do any more, it could ruin the balance. But yeah, I think overall it hasn't turned out too badly. And for something that's been done only with Inktense pencils and a paintbrush, I think it's pretty awesome. So I think I'm going to say it's done. And we must get planning on our next live color along series, which will start on Monday in a week's time. I will miss one Monday after that because we will be away. So I think it's the first Monday in June we're away. But what I might do is move the live stream for that week into the weekend. So maybe on a Sunday or somewhere on the end of May, so next weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, I'll do a live stream then, just so you guys don't miss out. But then yeah, so I'll pop up on the community post a couple of ideas for books and see what everyone wants to color with, and then we can go for our next color along series. Thank you everyone for voting. Thank you everyone for encouraging me to do this page with Inktense Pencils only. It's been an absolute enjoyable experience. I've loved every moment of it, and I look forward to seeing what we create together in our next color along series. So thanks everyone, have a great week, and I will see you next week. I'm going to cut this short just because of time purposes. I won't be able to color something quickly within half an hour. So have a great week everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.